Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Make sure I'm not muted. Okay. Everything's looking good. Good morning, guys. Welcome. We're back for another day, another trial. Um, Day two. Gathering myself. It hasn't started yet, by the way, if you're wondering. It hasn't started yet. Getting myself grounded here. Oh, put this link here. Yeah, welcome, man. If you guys could hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Today we are continuing with the testimony of sibling Fiona, sister, and I'm kind of curious what the cross examination is going to be like, which I believe is where we're starting this morning. Let's take a look here. Okay, here we go. We're live. Let's check everybody out here in the morning. Get the chat up. Amazing. Good. See you guys up on the screen. Oh yeah, I am tired. I didn't sleep that great. All right, let's move it over here. Boom.
Oh, that's jury lower right there.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, it's at 32 dB right now. I haven't touched it. You're gonna come in. I think so.
I wonder what this is. They're looking at the sky or something. 7 a.m. over there. I try to take a little nap before coming on, but I was listening to some dive stories, cave diving gone wrong, kind of drifting in and out of sleep. Stacey B, holy crap, 20 months. Thank you so much for being a member and continuing your membership. Good morning, Melon Chat. Good morning. Jill says, did the 14-year-old boy testify yesterday? I mean, no, he didn't testify, not yet. I believe he is supposed to testify. It seemed like I think the defense in their opening statements referenced that he would. I mean, he I guess he's 16 now. He was 14 at the time. Wow, 1:03 in the morning. It's 1:03 a.m. Where are you at? Did you meant to say 10:03? This is a criminal case. I can try to answer some of the questions you guys joining in. This is a criminal case. Let me pull up some of the family here. A lot of the questions yesterday too was is the wife Tracy is she being charged? And I should turn on this light. So she's having a separate trial. She's gonna have her own trial. I don't know when that is. So right now it's just the father that's on trial. Damn, you've been up since 2:30 in the morning. Wow, worse than me. His lawyer is something else. Where he's been living since. So I read an article yesterday. I should pull up. I should keep my articles up. I read an article yesterday that they've removed all the kids from the house. The situation happened. So I don't know. I don't know if they have a new family or they just in the care of like the state. Pull up a little notes here. Timothy Ferriter. You got to say it with a D, even though there's no D. Ferriter. I can read one of these articles here. There's a bunch of videos on this stuff too. Oh, let's check this out. Hold on a second.
At Vistaprint.
Good morning. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Wake up. It's the of the month.
inhumane 8
Come on.
locked up and abused their 14-year-old adopted son has been torn down. Our chief reporter, Jen Smith, is joining us now from the New York newsroom with more on this. And Jen, they built that cell in the garage of their Jupiter, Florida home, and now the woman in charge of the demolition is actually speaking exclusively with Daily Mail. What is she saying?
Yeah, that's right, Thomas. So her name is Rebecca Miller, and she saw this creepy enclosure for herself after the Ferriters hired her company, Demo Boys, to quietly get rid of it. Now, Rebecca told us that there was no window and no space inside the enclosure really to do anything. There was just drywall all around it. It would have also been pitch black when the door was closed.
Court calls up the matter of State versus Ferriter.
Hey,
we're back in session on day 4 of the trial. Counsel, appearances, please.
Tweet out.
All right. And Ms. Coakley is in courtroom 10G at this point? Okay. All right. Have we done a sound check yet? Do we need to do that? And so what's the result of the sound check? All right. So let me hear it for myself. Can Ms. Ferriter, if you could just go into the mic and speak, testing 1, 2, 3, so I can hear you.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
All right. That sounds better to me. So we'll see. All right, so are all sides ready to proceed with the cross-examination phase at this point? All right, Mr. Waheed, you're in courtroom 10G, correct?
He's here, Your Honor, yes.
All right, okay.
Need a minute to do some evidence cards, Judge.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I just need a moment. I'm making some evidence cards, but I'm here.
Okay. All right, you can go ahead and bring the jurors in then.
We got a weird view today. DJ says the father's lawyer petitioned for separate trials, okay, because of the wife's inconsistent statements to police. Oh, shit, he's trying to save his own skin. Oh, well, I mean, protect himself, because the wife is sitting there in support, sitting behind him, loyal, ride or die. Let me get some water before this starts.
All right, for those that are present on Zoom, you will hear the audio, but during this stage of the proceedings, you will not be hearing or seeing the video because it's in camera.
Now I'm just writing.
That's fine.
I don't know what's up with the view this morning. No notification today? Really? Let's take a look.
All right.
All aboard. Yeah, I don't think the notification went out.
All right, everyone may be seated.
Oh, no, wait. Wrong count.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, welcome back. I trust everyone had a good evening. We are here on day 4, and we are in the state's portion of the case. And as you know from yesterday, we're in the stage of the cross-examination of the witness. Before we begin, a couple things I need to address with you. First question is what you heard yesterday. Have any of you, were any of you inadvertently exposed to any type of media coverage between last night and this morning regarding this case, either by video, print media, or blog, email, or anything? Anybody been inadvertently exposed? All right, let the record reflect that no one indicated in the affirmative. Second thing is we're, as you know, conducting this testimony in camera with the witness in another courtroom. So technologically, we're having to transmit the signal into this courtroom. very, very important for me that all of the jurors be able to hear and understand what is being said. So if you have a problem hearing what is being said, please raise your hand. Do not be shy. Do not be afraid, because I will stop the proceedings and make sure the question is restated or the answer is restated so that you do hear it. I also want to let you know that during your deliberations, you have the right to have any testimony replayed that you wish to hear. And so if there were parts of the testimony that you didn't believe you heard well enough and you want to hear again during the deliberation, just let me know, and that'll be replayed for you. And my understanding is that the recording will come from the courtroom in which the witness was testifying out of, and that perhaps the sound will be a bit better. Last thing is, we have tried to work through some of the issues that I personally had with respect to the sound yesterday, and I hope that they've been resolved. But I can't guarantee it because I don't know how well you hear or not. And so if you have a problem still, you'll let me know so I can take whatever measures need to be taken to ensure, above all, that you hear all of the testimony that's presented. So everybody understand that? So don't be shy if you can't hear, so I can take whatever remedial action I need to take. All right, so Mr. Waheed, are you ready for your cross-examination?
Yes, Judge, I am.
Okay,
right, so
cross
you may
time,
proceed,
guys.
sir. Thank
Cross-examination. Let's see.
Fiona, how are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. You might be nervous. I'm just here to ask some questions. If you don't understand anything I ask you, just say I didn't understand the question, okay?
Okay.
Let's start with your brother's name. It's Ronan Ty Tan Ferriter, correct?
Yes.
How's that
So
going?
you've been calling him Ty, correct?
Yes.
So do you want me to just call him Ty when we're talking about him?
Ronan is fine.
Ronan's fine. All right. So let's go back to Arizona. So some of what you talked about yesterday was Arizona, and some of it was Florida. Arizona, you were there from approximately what year to what year that you remember?
Oh,
Left around 5th grade, and then we came back in the middle of my sophomore year, so whatever time period that was.
Okay. So you're in 5th grade. You think you were about, what, 10, 9, 10, 10, 11, something like that?
Roughly.
Okay. So, and then in sophomore year, how old were you?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Arizona years were about 4 or 5 years, something like that. Okay. All right. So you were there and then you came back to Florida, and the Florida time period was, you said, around late December of 2021. And then, in this case, we're taking it up to the, end of January of 2022. So in that time period, so that's about 6 weeks or so, right?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay. So substantially more time in Arizona, obviously, than this last time in Florida.
Yes.
All right. Let me ask you a little bit about your brother's medical situation. You never went to the many, many doctor visits that he went to, correct?
No.
But your parents went to those visits, correct?
I assume yes.
Okay. You don't know if any parent went to a visit with a doctor?
I didn't really.
Okay. And you never obviously saw any of the medical reports that your parents saw, correct?
No.
And at some point, you were told by your parents.
Objection as to hearsay.
Sustained.
Goes to effect on the listener judge.
I'm going to sustain.
Irrelevant, Your Honor.
I'm sorry? Ms. Cochler, you renewing?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Ms. Coakley, are you renewing your objection? He's arguing the exception.
Your Honor, I would say then it goes to if there's not relevance, the effect on her.
Sustained.
On direct yesterday, you said that your brother wasn't allowed to have certain snacks, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you're aware that he was, your parents were trying to curtail the sugary snacks in his diet, correct?
That's what they said.
Is that better? You guys
you're
tell
aware
me.
of that, right?
Yes.
All right.
Better or worse?
And
Audio.
you didn't go to any of the mental health visits that your brother went to. He was seeing a therapist. You didn't go to those, correct?
When was this?
This would have been in Arizona.
If he was going to a therapist, I wasn't aware of that.
Okay, fair. Which would also mean you weren't aware of anything the therapist would have conveyed to the family in terms of Ronan's condition.
No.
Okay. So let's go back to the food snacks. Yesterday you said he was essentially not allowed to have food and snacks, but the other kids were, correct?
Yes.
All right. Were you aware that, did you think your brother at any point looked malnourished or in any way like he was getting too thin or anything like that?
Yes.
And when did you convey that to anybody?
I never said anything.
All right. And are you aware that the doctors he saw always found that he was appropriate?
Sustained. Sustained, and it's an improper question because you're assuming facts, not in evidence, Mr. White. The objection is sustained.
Well, I'll be able to tie it up later, Judge. So it's a question of what she knows.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Move on.
Okay. Yesterday, you said that about the snacks, that he wasn't allowed to have snacks. Isn't it true you do not know if, when he was hungry, that he actually ate snacks or not? You don't know that.
Sorry. Repeat that?
Sure. You are unaware that when Ronan was hungry, whether or not he actually ate a snack. You don't know that.
He wasn't allowed to get his own snacks.
You remember you spoke to somebody under oath back on February 1 of 2022, and directing court and counsel, page 55, line 8, as to snacks,
Going to be provided me with a different prescription.
okay. You gave a statement on February 1 of 2022. It was not under oath. And in that statement, you were asked, if he's hungry, does he get light snacks? And your response was, I don't know.
And I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. And you don't know because you're not with Ronan all the time. You're not always watching him. You're at school. You have other things going on in your life, correct?
Yeah.
And you're a pretty smart child. You like reading a lot, correct?
Yes.
And you spend a lot of your time in your room reading by yourself, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. Let me talk to you about lights and Ronan. You were aware that Ronan had not been sleeping well, correct?
Yes.
And he, in fact, told you he would stay up sometimes at 3 a.m. because he couldn't sleep.
Objection as to hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Impeachment, Judge. From yesterday's testimony.
I'm sorry, Mr. White.
This is rebuttal of yesterday's testimony, Judge.
All right, this is still hearsay. Sustained.
It's It's impeachment, Judge.
So you're not offering it for the truth of the matter asserted, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Solely for purposes of impeachment.
Correct.
Ms. Coakley, your position?
There was no testimony as to any statement that Ronan made on this topic, Your Honor. We didn't even discuss his sleep habits with this witness, so it cannot be impeachment.
This witness talked about the lights on the outside of the room, and that the parents would turn off the lights.
All right. So,
And
but the question relates to what RF told her with respect to how late he was staying up, correct?
correct.
I'm going to sustain the objection.
You talked about a few things yesterday. Some of them were in Arizona. Some of them were in Arizona and Florida. You talked yesterday about your lack of contact with Ronan during those 6 weeks in Florida. Remember that?
Yes.
Right. And reality is you were pretty busy doing homework or at school or at your sister's games during that time. And you didn't really have any reason to go to Ronan's work, correct?
Yes.
And you spent a lot of your time in your own room reading, correct?
Yes.
You also talked yesterday about Ronan not going to your events, and was that you must be talking about in Arizona, correct?
Yes.
Right.
So far, sticking on the whole food thing that she doesn't know, even though she told prosecution that she would bring food because, she felt that he wasn't eating or he was hungry.
I'm going to show you 3 pictures. Approach. Take a look at each. Tell me, do you recognize what those pictures are of?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to mark each one for identification. A little number. So the one I put a card on that says number 4, what is that a picture of?
You of a bandit.
I'm sorry, say that again?
You of a bandit.
Okay. And the picture marked number 5, what is that a picture of?
A concert.
Okay. And the picture with the card number 6 on it, what is that a picture of?
Spelling bee.
Spelling bee. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And these are all events, your events, correct?
Yes.
All right. This time I move these defense 4, 5, and 6 into evidence.
Your Honor, state would object as to relevance. I also have some more specific objections about the time frame.
Relevancy response, Mr. Waheed?
It's Arizona.
These are events that this witness went to in Arizona?
This individual went to in Arizona, correct. I have more questions. I don't want to get something in front of the jury, Judge, but yes, I was there. This is in response directly to when yesterday she said that Ronan did not attend her events. And I just established that before I showed the picture.
All right, well, she's already said that he didn't, so
right.
I'm going to sustain the objection. I'm sustaining the objection. 4, 5, and 6 are not coming in. They're marked for ID as defense exhibits 4, 5, and 6.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the court viewed the photos because they include Ronan in the photos. So that it's direct impeachment. And the court can't see the photos right now. That's sort of the problem.
All right, so you need to do a sidebar. Mark, escort the jurors into the jury room. Mr. Waheed, you need to come up to this courtroom for the sidebar.
Right.
I should timestamp yesterday's live for people that missed it, because I think the most important thing, if you want to catch up on this trial, is just watch the opening statements.
You're going to stay here for a few minutes. We're going to discuss something, and then we're going to come back, okay?
Which is not long.
You don't have to sit there, but you can look at what you're going to do.
and the Fiona's testimony, which starts at the
You
end.
don't have copies up here, Ms. Murad, that I can look at while we're waiting?
And in the description of this video too, there's somewhat of a brief summary. I have it in the description of the video. I'll go over it though when they take a little break here. And good morning, man. Thank you guys for stopping by early. Well, not really that early. Some of the trials we've done is like we have to be here like at 9. I don't know if we've even had times like 8 o'clock or something to be here. But the only thing is when it starts later, I guess it ends later. Let's turn the volume down for not to hear all that background noise. They start talking. I forgot to turn on captions too, but luckily we can have the Law and Crime has the captions on. So I guess because during yesterday's testimony, Fiona had said that, you know, Ronan wouldn't go to any of the events and stuff. And so I guess the defense is trying to pull out some pictures and be like he's gone to these events or something. I guess that's what they're trying to do. And so...
Well, 4, 5, and 6 is what he had him marked as. So it tells me even less, so...
I'm working on it, Judge. I have a number of photos, and I just need to know which ones Mr. Wahead are.
All right, well, that's why I asked for him to come up here to be part of the sidebar.
Let's see how it sounds on the phone. Let me hear what you guys listen to.
Yeah, it should be just momentarily. All right, come on up, counsel.
The judge sounds good, but like her audio doesn't sound that great. I think tonight too. I'm pretty sure my audio sounds good, but like sometimes it cuts off. I think if I talk over here, or here. I think I can open up the settings a little bit, but I'll mess with that this evening sometime. Good luck. What's up, man? Good morning. Yes, yeah. So somebody in the chat said that the husband had asked for the trials to be separate because she had given conflicting statements supposedly on police statements, and so maybe it could hurt him having them both being tried at the same time. I mean, you think about like Ethan Crumley. I think his parents are doing that. Are they doing it separately? Did they try? Or they tried to separate it? I don't know if they're doing that separately or not. Or think of like Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. Yeah, the judge is playing no games. I see Aussie said, I like this judge. Audio's rough for me. Yeah, I mean, I can turn down that. I don't know if that enhancement thing is too loud. And I can just manually add audio to it. Maybe it's less for people. The audio is not great at all for the trial. I mean, maybe it'll just be this witness because we were having issues yesterday. Believe it or not, it's actually better than yesterday. But audio super. Okay. Let me just get these here real quick too. Cruise with Cindy, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for the super chat. Says you have the best community. Most YouTubers give the negative comments attention. You don't. It makes a difference. Thank you. Yeah, I try to ignore it. I mean, sometimes I might, snap, but I don't know. People are just looking for attention. Sunny D, thank you for the 13 months. Hey, Mel, good to be here. Another trial, you're the best. Another trial. Get our feet wet a little bit. Cassie, thank you for the membership. Stacy B, thank you for the, I think you did 20 months. Luffy, thank you for the 5 months. Amazing. Luffy. MS Maurice, thank you for the membership. And Rose Marie J, thank you. Appreciate that. I wonder if we can get some of this audio of the person that constructed. I saw a video. Oh, they have a lot of pictures here. The plans. This is the box that he was put in, but it's it's kind of a room, but it's an 8x8. Plans to indicate walls to be demolished. Oh, to be demolished. 8x8. Timothy is seen with demolition crew on Saturday. He wore an Arizona t-shirt and a cap and attempted to remain low-key. Family. The unnamed 14-year-old told police he was spanked, hit with a belt, and a jump rope, frequently spit on, and reportedly asked to be put in jail so he didn't have to go back to his adopted parents. This is the accused couple, both 46, told cops the makeshift cage was a home office. Oh, hell nah. Despite it having no windows and no door handle on the inside, but with a deadbolt and the only light switch located on the outside. So they just lock him in there. No way for him to get out. No way for him to turn on, turn off the lights. Wow. There was one of the Daily Mail articles. The title kind of made me laugh a little bit. There's something about like Christian something, and I knew them. I knew that must have been triggering to some people. It was kind of funny. The plan to demolish the structure. Okay, we saw that already. The guy that constructed it too. I thought he did an interview or something. I'm sure they'll probably have to. They'll probably have this guy testify. Good morning. Okay, Drita. Oh, so you know what? Tell me if this works. Rabbit this morning messaged me. Good morning, Rabbit. I hope you're doing well and the baby. She said if you put a thumbs up twice, what the hell is that? If you put a thumbs up twice, something pops up on the screen. Hi, like, and subscribe. Does that work? Let me see. Let me see. Does it? Let's see if that's true. I want to see if that's true. I feel like they never enable the features on my channel. It didn't work. How come I work for Rabbit? Rabbit. Let me show you what Rabbit sent me. It didn't work. YouTube. I'm always missing out on the features. There's something I have to enable. Is it like in beta phase? The Rabbit sent me this.
Thumbs up button thingy bubble. Did you see that? Hey, bossy, how you doing? When did this appear? What is this? What is this?
How you get that? I don't get that shit. Maybe it's a Streamlabs. I mean, a StreamYard thing. I'm gonna play it again. DLC Media Player.
Thumbs up button thingy bubble. Did you see that? Hey, bossy, how you doing? When did this appear? What is this? What is this? Did you?
I don't get that.
Thumbs up button thingy bubble. Did you see that? Hey, bossy, how you doing? When did this appear? What is this? What is this? Did you?
That shouldn't work for me. How come I don't get all the cool features and stuff? She has the update. What the heck? Selena, thank you for the 20 months. Keep up the good work. Love you in Texas. All my exes live in Texas. Linda, thank you for the 2-month membership. Thanks for doing this, man. No problem, man. We're just here early, getting our feet wet. Listen, a lot of things have been pushed back. Okay, things that we thought were going to happen aren't happening. I mean, the Kohlberger thing. Let me see what's going on with Kohlberger. That I knew that shit wasn't happening October 5th. Oh, I'm going to try to be mindful of the cursing. I should get like a shock thing. It'll be tight if I get like a shock thing. I don't know that you guys, but that might not be a good thing actually. That you guys could control, like with a command. I feel like you guys would abuse that. But exclusive. Is that all you've got? Expert claims or expert slams Brian Kohlberger's attempt to undermine FBI's DNA evidence linking him to the Idaho murders and say tactic reeks of desperation. Ooh. The DNA evidence against Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohlberger is damning, A genealogical expert told the Daily Mail, and his defense team seeks to confuse the jury over its reliability. DNA is said to be the center of the grisly murder case in which Koberger, 28, is accused of stabbing students. His attorneys have sought to sully methods used by the FBI that led them to their suspect, and even suggested that Koberger's DNA could have been planted by detectives. Oh, snap! It's kind of messy. What is that trial set to start? A date has not been set for the start, but it could be in 2024. Yeah, just put that thing in the back of your mind. As far as the trial starting, it's going to be a while. You know what I'm saying? So we had to move ahead. And then the other thing, too, is Harmony Montgomery, which is a trial I'm definitely covering. At first, it was like the beginning of October. Then it got pushed back to the end of October. Then I thought like November. Now it's next year. So forget about that too. Out the window. Capus. So I figured, you know what, man? Let's just start with something. Get our feet wet. Get some consistent content going on. And this trial, I don't think it's gonna be that long. I think Brandy said yesterday, which she's streaming the trial, by the way, today as well. I think that she said the state will rest by like Thursday, or supposed to. But I mean, who knows how many people the defense is going to bring on? Oh yeah, there's a nationwide emergency phone alert going out today, and I guess they're testing the system. You have another trial, Amy? What trial is that? The OnlyFans thing. I don't know what's going on with that. Somebody had told me it's starting this week, but I don't see anything. The only thing that Mo could find is that tomorrow on the 5th, there's some type of hearing, but no really description of what kind of hearing. There's also a hearing for Tupac today. The Tupac Shakur murder case trial. There's a hearing. At some point, I'd like to watch that and check out what's up with that. Timothy Ferriter. Koberger. Hmm. 1 year ago. Parents in court. Let's see. I want to see if this. Oh, here we go. Let's check this out. Oh, wait.
Inside the quiet Egret Landing community in Jupiter, down the tree-lined streets and at the end of a cul-de-sac, police say sits a house of horror.
This was despicable and shouldn't happen.
Inside this garage, Jupiter police say a 14-year-old boy was forced to live in an 8-by-8-foot box with a mattress, a camera, and a bucket used to go to the bathroom. Meals were brought to him, but he was only allowed out, police say, to attend school.
Everybody's watching out for each other. So I'm really surprised something like this went unnoticed.
But police tell us the teen has been physically abused and confined to the small space since at least 2017. Today, his adopted parents, Tracy and Timothy Ferriter, in court, now charged with aggravated child abuse and false imprisonment.
I came outside yesterday and seen all the cops and stuff. But, like, I didn't think it was something like that. I thought it was like maybe they got in a fight.
Jupiter police say they first came to the home after the boy was reported missing by his mom a week and a half ago. 2 days later, officers went back, and once allowed inside, they spotted the small room with a deadbolt on the door. The boy was later found.
When is that happening? Kim Sparkle said, I heard there used to be a preliminary hearing for the guy that kidnapped Charlotte. Anyway, I guess there's going to be. That'd be interesting. I don't know. I'd love to see that. What's going on with that guy? We're gonna have to keep. It's gonna be. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep updating with that story. Play for you. Thank you so much for the. Just saying good morning. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're. I know you had your loss recently, but it's good. It's good to see you. Says hi everyone. I'm running a little behind as usual, but I'm here. You didn't miss too much this morning. You didn't miss too much. So far, Fiona's testifying, the defense is cross-examining, and they're kind of like trying to poke holes with things like, as far as like the food, did she see him eating or not, I believe. They're trying to bring into evidence some pictures because she also said that he wasn't there for events. And I guess the defense has pictures of that. That's so far, that's how it started this morning. And this guy, for anybody that's missed it, he had, bro. I mean, I'm kind of curious how this will turn out. I mean, I don't know. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you. So far, it's kind of early to tell because we haven't seen the defense yet. But so, do you believe open and shut? I think it's too early. It might be too early to even ask this, really. Let's see. But maybe there's people that feel decided already. Because I'm just really curious about, they had said, I think a teacher is supposed to come on and testify. What I want to know, too, is like, is it true that they went to all these doctors and attempted to get all these different therapists and that they have all turned their back? The defense also stated that they had multiple exchanges with the school via email about all these problems. You know, are they going to ask Fiona? Because I think it was yesterday they said that that Rona went into school, and I think it was, they were talking about her, that he went in there and embarrassed her. I don't know if it was her or they're talking about a different sibling. Like, embarrassed her in front of the whole class. So far in the poll, there's a poll in the chat. Open and shut case. 66% say yes. 10% say no. 24% say need more.
Found at his school and interviewed. Police executed a search warrant on the camera mounted over the mattress and say thousands of videos were found of the boy locked inside. In court, the couple's attorney argued the teen may have been abused because he has an attachment disorder with his parents.
It makes my heart go out to that boy, and I hope he's able to find the support he needs.
Okay, joining us now in West Palm Beach, Florida, a journalist with the Palm Beach Post who was at a hearing today for the Ferriters. Catherine Kokel is with us. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're doing incredible work in covering this story. The scene for us a little bit about this home.
Having me. Timothy and Tracy Ferriter lived in Jupiter and Palm Beach Gardens, both in South Florida, from 2004 through 2017. In 2017, they moved out to Tucson, Arizona, and came back here to Jupiter earlier this year, late 2021, early 2022. They were arrested February 8th, and the events that led up to their arrest started when their 14-year-old teenager ran away on January 28th. They were missing for 3 days, and they were found on the grounds of their local Independence Middle School on January 31st. That was when Jupiter police kind of learned the extent of the alleged child abuse in their home. Tracy and Timothy Ferriter were both born in 1975. They have 4 children. The 14-year-old teenager we know was adopted. We don't know the circumstances under which that child was adopted because those records are sealed. But Tracy told police in Arizona that the child was adopted around 2 years old. So we know that the child's been a part of the family for a long time. And we also know from the parents and their attorney that they've had some escalating behavioral issues. And so the Ferriters constructed in December a room in their garage. It was made out of drywall. It had a wall air conditioning unit, a light up top with a doorbell camera that was mounted on the ceiling.
I don't know how to air conditioning unit.
It was an 8 by 8 foot room in their garage where the teenager told police they were kept up to 18 hours a day. We believe that this was done as a punishment, but the Ferriters didn't live in Jupiter.
Yeah, they're still on some sort of sidebar. That's the audio's on. It's playing in the background. Let me take a look here. You guys are saying, Chaos, what's up? Good morning. Room with lock, bucket for bathroom use. Done. Right? Where was he the 2 days he was missing? That's a good question. She said that he was found, I guess, on school grounds. I didn't know that. 18-hour timeout. Bruh. Oh, wait. I was thinking of, I don't know what I was thinking of. They have this new thing now where you can time people out for longer periods of time. So somebody got timed out for 18 hours. I think you can time people out now in the chat. I don't want to test it. I don't want to put somebody on timeout. Let's test that. We test it on Diggs. Where's Diggs at? I thought I saw it in the chat. I think it gives you the option before timing them out. I didn't see any AC unit either. You can time out for 24 hours now? Holy crap. Time me out. All right, I'm not going to time you out, but let me see what it says.
Did you put evidence cards on all of the ones we just dealt with? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
Lex.
But Mr. White's clear on the numbers that we were assigning to them up here. Okay, all right. Okay, so we're good.
Or didn't they put new rules for timeouts or something like that on YouTube?
All right, Mr. Wahid, it looks like we're still waiting on Ms. Coakley. Is that her that just came in?
Where's that Discord?
Okay. All right, so Mr. Wahid and Ms. Coakley, are both of you ready to proceed?
Yes, we're here, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mark, Ms. Murad, you're ready to proceed? Ms. Black? All right, you can go ahead and bring the jurors in. Yes.
Okay, so we're back.
All rise.
Jury entering.
I saw it say that, but it didn't. I haven't seen the option. Yeah, I haven't seen the option either. It just timed her out. You should be able to talk back in a minute or so.
All right, everyone may be seated. All right, so for the record, the court is going to receive and accept Defendant's Exhibit 4 in evidence over objection. Court is going to sustain the objection as to Exhibits 5 and 6. However, the defense is not precluded from using those documents for purposes of refreshing recollection. Mr. Wahid, you clear on the court's ruling at this point?
I am.
All right, you may proceed.
So Fiona, if you look at the picture where number 4 is, the card is number 4 there. What's that a picture of?
Arizona Band-Aid.
Okay, and
all right, she needs to restate that. She needs to restate that answer because my jurors did not hear it. So state your answer again, ma'am.
As loud as you can speak, Fiona.
Arizona Band-Aid.
Better.
Arizona Band Day.
Yes. Band.
I'm gonna repeat the answer here every once in a while to make sure, and you just agree or don't agree with me. So you just said Arizona Band Day.
Yes.
Okay. And in that picture is you with the awesome hat, correct?
Yes.
And you're holding an instrument.
Yes.
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 And what's that instrument?
A flute.
A flute. So that's what you played?
Yes.
You still play the flute?
When I want to.
Okay. And next to you in that picture is whom?
Directly next to me is my brother.
Which brother?
Ronan.
Okay. And in front of him is whom?
Pierce.
And next to Ronan?
Nola.
Is Nola. So that's all your siblings in that picture, correct?
Yes.
So they did attend, and Ronan did attend that day, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I think the court already moved it into evidence, but it's my habit, so I'm moving 4 into evidence.
I've already received and accepted 4 in evidence, and I've dealt with 5 and 6 already. Okay. They're the objection sustained, but you can use them for refreshing recollection.
Yeah.
So, Madam Clerk, are you clear on the court's rulings on that? Yes, Your Honor. Okay. All right. Good enough.
pockets. So, showing you 5. Do you recognize this picture?
Vaguely.
Okay. What do you remember it from?
It was a concert I did.
Okay. So you remember that you attended a concert and your brother Ronan was present, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then looking at 6, do you remember Ronan now attending your spelling bee? You gotta look at the picture though.
I am.
Okay. Who's that? I can't even see it upside down. Yeah,
It looks like Ronan.
okay. Good. So do you recall him? Sorry. Do you recall him attending your spelling bee?
Yes.
Did I block Lex? What did I do? I'm sorry, Lex. I should have touched buttons. Let me look and see.
Yesterday, you said that Ronan did not do his homework in the house, correct?
Not. Yes.
Okay. And that would include in Arizona, correct?
Yes.
Showing you what's been previously marked as Exhibit 7. Do you recognize, what is that picture of?
Me doing my homework.
Okay. And how do you recognize that?
What do you mean?
You know it's you because it looks like you?
That's me.
Okay, I just wanted to making sure. Okay, so that is a picture of you, and who else is in that picture?
There's Ronan in the background.
All right, and what's he doing?
Homework.
All right. At this point, Judge, I move Defense 7 into evidence.
All right, so I've already heard sidebar arguments on this. Court's going to receive and accept Defendant's Exhibit 7 in evidence over objection.
I don't know if you guys like this.
You may continue, Mr. Waheed.
Yes, Judge. Giving the clerk the evidence item. So I don't lose track of that. Yesterday, you also said that Ronan was not allowed to attend family events. Do you recall saying that?
Not all the time.
All right. So he attended
Some family events.
Some family events. Okay. And when he attended those family events, those would include trips outside when you know, to things that were like going to see like the Aerospace Museum, for example.
I don't recall the Aerospace Museum, but he would come sometimes.
Okay. Going to show you Defense 8.
Damn, it's 10 minutes, a long time. Sorry, Lex Lux. Thank you for testing.
You know what that's a picture of?
I don't remember this.
Okay. So who's in the picture? Anybody remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the people in the picture?
Yes.
All right. Do you remember where this picture was taken?
No.
All right. you recall taking family hikes, which included Roman?
Yes.
And to Sabino Canyon?
Yes.
You recall your family, including Roman, spending time at the Tucson Hotel JW Marriott pool?
No.
Showing you what's been marked for identification as defense 10. Does that help refresh your recollection?
I don't remember this.
All right.
So they're pulling out pictures of the events that Ronan, I guess, has been at. They're trying to, come back and say that he actually has been at things.
Yesterday you said Ronan was not allowed to play outside, correct?
I believe I said not usually.
Okay. But he would be allowed to play outside, correct?
On occasion.
He would play outside in the backyard in Arizona, correct?
If you would call it backyard.
All right, well, setting aside.
All right, hold on a sec, Mr. Waheed. We're getting noise from outside that's interfering with our ability to hear her, so let that pass as the train. All right, I'm going to ask you to restate the last question and give the witness a chance to restate her answer.
My last question, Fiona, was whether you recall Ronan playing outside in the backyard in Arizona.
Yes.
Okay. And he would play at times with the other kids in your family, correct?
Yes.
You recall all of you kids playing at a friend's house swimming pool in Arizona?
That's in general.
Okay. Well, a swimming pool in Arizona that was not your home, but the home of a family friend.
I'm not sure I'm understanding what you're asking.
Let me show you something and see if it helps you narrow down where I'm going with this. Showing you what's been marked for identification is defense 12. Do you recognize that location and the people in that picture?
Lex, you're back.
I recognize my sibling, but I don't recognize the person.
You don't. I have to get a clearer answer from you. I heard you say you recognize.
I recognize my siblings, but I don't recognize the person in the middle between my brother and my sister.
Okay. And your brother, that's Ronan, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you're at a swimming pool, correct?
Yes.
Your house didn't have a swimming pool, right?
Which one in Arizona?
Yes.
It did have a swimming pool.
Okay. Is that your house in Arizona swimming pool?
No.
All right. So so is it fair to say that there were times where you all went out together, including going to friends' houses?
At times, yes.
You recall going to Mount Lemmon in Arizona with your brother Ronan?
Yes.
And that was like a family vacation day, correct?
Yes.
Was Ronan, did your family celebrate Ronan's birthdays?
Yes.
And by celebrate, how would they do that? Bring out a cake, everyone, family sitting around the table, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Ronan was involved in martial arts, correct?
Yes.
And your parents put all the kids, other than Pierce, who's very small, in some activities, correct?
Yes.
And you were involved in track at some point at basic?
I did not go to basic.
Okay. Did you ever do track?
Yes.
All right. Was Ronan doing track with you?
Where?
When you were doing track?
I did track in 2 places, here and in Arizona.
All right. Let's talk about Arizona. Did Ronan do track in Arizona?
Yes.
I know you didn't like track, so you didn't do track as long, correct?
No. Yes. Well, yes, I did.
I don't like running either. Okay, so let me ask you about.
Did he smile with that? Or smart?
Chores. So yesterday, do you remember you saying that Ronan would be outside moving shells?
Yes.
That's here in Florida, correct?
Correct.
And that was this current time in Florida from end of December of 21 to the end of January of 22, correct?
Yes.
And the house your parents moved into in Jupiter had in front of it a tree with a bunch of shells around it, correct?
Yes.
All right. And they didn't want the shells, so there was an effort to remove the shells slowly and get rid of them, correct?
Yes.
And that's what you're talking about that Ronan was working on, correct?
Yes.
You had chores in the house too, didn't you?
Yes.
And so did Nola.
Yes.
And the types of chores that you and Nola had would be mostly inside the house, cleaning up, that sort of thing, correct?
Yes.
And the types of chores that your brother Ronan had were mostly outside things, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's smirking. He's smiling. I don't know. I don't know if it's confidence or what he said to his attorney.
So Ronan had posters in his room at some point, correct?
Yes.
In fact, your parents got those for him for Christmas, one of the Christmases, correct?
I don't remember.
I'm going to see if I can refresh your recollection with the statement you made on February 1, 2022. The current Court of Counsel to page 24, line 13. Just read it to yourself. When you're done reading that, let me. So there were some posters that your parents got Ronan for Christmas, correct?
Yes.
And at some point, Ronan shredded all of these posters, didn't he?
He did.
Ronan used to also have a dresser in his room in Arizona, correct?
He did.
And this dresser was taken out of the room, correct?
Yes.
And it was because he was ripping his clothes up when he got upset, correct?
Yes.
And the dresser was placed just outside of his room.
This is in Arizona, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So in late January of 22, Ronan had run away, correct?
Yes.
He had run away at least 2 times before that, correct?
Yes, but not here.
In Arizona?
Yes. I don't think it's, yeah, it is here.
And your parents at some point had a family meeting, I think it was when he first ran away, and asked you all how you felt about him running away, correct?
I don't remember.
Referring court and counsel to the statement of February 1st, 22, page 32, line 16 at the end of the page. I'm going to give you this. Read from this line to the end of the page until when you're done. So your parents had a family meeting the first time you ran away. They asked you all how you felt about it.
Yes.
And your position was that...
Objection as to hearsay, Your Honor.
As to the answer or to the question?
To both, Your Honor.
All right, overruled as to the answer and overruled as to the question as phrased. You may answer.
I'm going to ask this question.
The question was, what was her position?
Yeah, the question was exactly what was your position about when they had those meetings, they asked you how you felt about it. What was your position?
And let me be clear. I'm allowing her to state what her position was, not what she said. She can testify as to what her position was and that not be hearsay. So I'm going to allow that.
Very interesting what Mandy said. I'm going to show you guys something.
What you're asking?
Yes. So I'm going to go back to the previous question where I asked you, they had meetings. When you first ran away, they asked you all how you felt about it. What was your position on that?
On him running away?
On how you felt about that. How did you feel about that? Him running away, yes. First time.
I'm curious what she has to say.
I'm sorry,
You want me to ask the question again, John?
No, I heard you. I'm just trying.
Did the jury hear that? All right, do you need to have her restate that answer?
He said, I heard the question, I'm just trying.
Okay, so, all right.
I'm trying to think.
Trying to think.
Okay, all right, take your time.
I'm sorry. When he ran away, I wasn't really sure what to think. I was surprised, but also tried to understand why he would do it. I was worried, I guess, is my answer. I'm not sure I'm understanding the question though.
All right, I'm gonna move on. Is it fair to say that when he would be getting in trouble back then, when around the time frame in Arizona, that you didn't often know why he was getting in trouble?
I didn't know the specifics of why he got in trouble.
Did you think at any point that he was being wild or energetic, anything like that?
He was hyper.
Okay. Did you ever notice it was very difficult to calm him down once he got going?
Yes.
Did you ever see your parents try to make efforts to calm him down with words?
Yes.
Yesterday you said that Ronan got in trouble and things would be taken away from him.
Yes.
Well, there were times you got in trouble with your parents, correct?
Yes.
And they would take things away from you, correct?
Yes.
Like your electronics, right?
Yes.
And Ronan had an eye touch and that got taken away at some point?
Yes.
And you're aware Ronan would steal from inside the home?
Yes.
You're aware at some point he stole other people's credit cards?
Yes.
He, in fact, stole your money at one point?
Yes.
And you and your sister did not do these same types of things, correct?
No.
You're aware that Ronan was asked to write sentences at some point?
Yes.
And the sentence was usually, I will not steal, correct?
That's one of them.
Another one was, I will not lie.
Also another one.
We talked about the house in Tucson. The address was it 4245 East Havasu Road?
Yes.
Do you remember what the layout of that house was?
Yes.
I'm going to show you something to. Yeah, if I need to.
Sandra, thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Gracias.
So that house, there was, so you walk in the front entry and you're in the living room, correct?
Yes.
And then there's a dining room to your left and a family room to your right, and the kitchen is the back on the left.
Yes.
And then if you go to the left, through a door, there's a bedroom, correct?
Yes.
Was that your bedroom? On the left?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then if you went opposite your bedroom, down some stairs, you get to the garage, correct?
And the way that was situated was my bedroom, there's a laundry room, down the stairs is the garage, and then there's the bathroom.
The bathroom is in the hallway between the garage and your bedroom.
It's on the other end of my, so if I'm looking at my bedroom here, bathroom's on my right.
Okay. And the other 3 bedrooms were on the far opposite side of the house from your bedroom, correct?
Yes.
So you had to cross from your bedroom through the dining room, through the family room and living room, to the other 3 bedrooms on the other side of the house.
Yes.
And before Pierce was born, Ronan was in one of those rooms, correct?
Yes.
And so it's fair to say it was pretty far from your room in terms of the distance within that one house, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And fair to say that Ronan moved into a room in the garage around the time that Pierce was born, right?
Yes.
One moment, Judge. I have no other questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. White. Ms. Coakley, do you have any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may begin.
So, Your Honor, I want to start with the layout of the house. When you talked about being able to hear some of the physical abuse that was happening.
Yes.
What room was Ronan in at that point?
In the garage.
Okay. And so the location of your bedroom in the Arizona house as it related to the garage was close to the garage.
Yes.
And so you could hear the physical abuse when it was happening there.
Yes.
And did you in fact see an instance where he was pressed up against a wall?
Yes.
Okay. Were his feet on the ground when that happened?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did that incident scare you?
Yes.
What were you worried about?
That he was grabbing too tight and that something worse than just hurt might happen.
Okay, can you just say that a little louder?
She needs to restate
something
that.
worse would happen than just the grabbing.
Okay, worse like how?
Jury hear that? All right, stop. Let's have her restate that answer so the jury can hear it.
So what were you worried worse would happen?
Objection.
Overruled.
I was worried that one day, that he might
Objection.
Overruled.
What?
that he would accidentally kill.
And is that based on the physical force that you saw?
Yes.
And the level of anger and aggression you saw the defendant do towards your brother?
Yeah.
Is this emotional for you to talk about?
Yeah.
How come?
I don't want to think about my brother not being here. It's not fair.
Now, on cross-examination, the defense asked you about were there times you saw efforts to calm your brother down with words. What were those efforts like?
Angry, stern, not comforting at all.
Okay. Is that how he was talked to and treated by both your parents, Tim and Tracy?
Objection, hearsay.
Overruled.
No.
At the time that it was happening to you, did some of the, when you were living in the house, did you really understand whether or not what was happening to Ronan was wrong?
In Arizona?
Yeah, in Arizona.
Objection as to the foundation of the question.
Overruled.
Go ahead. Just make sure you speak loudly, please.
So can you repeat it?
Yeah, at the time when it was happening, all these things are happening to your brother in Arizona. Did you understand that what was happening was wrong?
Yes.
Okay. Did it your understanding of what was happening as you got older, did it evolve?
It changed, yes.
Okay. How did it change?
It became more clear that, I'm sorry.
Take your time.
It kind of coalesced into actual understanding of what was going on, so I could identify a word to go with it.
Okay, what's that word?
Abuse.
Now, we talked on cross-examination a little bit about some of the things that your brother did do with the family. What's the time period total that you lived in Arizona?
Again, I can't recall exactly, but I want to say 5 years.
Okay, so over 5 or 6 years, were there times that he got to do stuff with your family?
Yes.
Over that 5 or 6 years, were there also times where he was left home alone in his room?
Yes.
And times when you guys would be gone for all day?
Yes.
And he would be left home alone in his room?
Yes.
So those pictures that you looked at, that the defense showed you, those are all events that he went to in Arizona, correct?
Yes.
And some of them are as long as 5 or 6 years ago.
Yes.
And you saw that picture of him doing homework in the house with you. Is that in the house in Arizona?
Yes.
Is that a common occurrence?
Not all the time.
Was it rare for that type of thing to happen?
It would happen if someone had supervision, so I was there. I think. I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't. I'll just say it wasn't often.
So there were times, you're not saying that the stuff that happened when he was in the room was every single day, every minute of the day.
No.
There were times when he was outside and allowed to play.
Yes.
But most of the time, where was he?
In his room or then outside.
Now, I want to talk about Florida specifically. You gave us a word for what you felt like happened in Arizona. Is that word how you feel about how he was treated in Florida as well?
Objection.
Sustain, rephrase.
The defense asked you about, in Florida, were you reading in your room a lot?
Yes.
Okay. Do you still know what's going on in your house?
Technically, yes.
And you lived in the same house as your brother?
Yes.
And during the time in Florida, did you see him a lot?
Not often.
And is that because he's out of the house at school or something else?
Either at school or outside in the yard.
And then where's the only other place he was?
Room.
Now, you mentioned about how he was treated in Arizona. Was he treated the same way in Florida?
Objection.
Overruled as to that.
Regarding work, yes. He was outside and in his room. A lot roughly.
You talked about how when you observed your parents deal with him, that there was anger. Is that how when they interacted with him? Is that what you observed the situation in Florida as well?
Anger or frustration.
Okay. Was there yelling at him?
Yes.
That's all the questions I have.
All right. Ma'am, that concludes your testimony. You may step down. Thank you. All right, Ms. Coakley, do you have your next witness ready?
Sure. Can we just have a 5-minute break and then
All right, we'll take a 5-minute, we'll make it a 10-minute recess, and then we'll start back up with the next witness. All right? Court's in recess.
So, as you can hear, there's the alarms in the place are going off, which is pretty annoying. I just saw like the property manager, like maintenance, they're all walking around checking the stuff. The last time this happened, like, dude, it was like 2 hours, but it was like after hours, they didn't do nothing. Like, they just took forever. Hopefully they'll this time take care of it quicker. But there's nothing going on. I don't see anything going on outside.
Jupiter couple accused of child abuse. The parents accused of locking their adopted son in a small room in the garage for up to 18 hours a day. Tonight, WPBF 25 News got a hold of exclusive documents that reveal that couple's past encounters with Child Protective Services when they formerly lived in Arizona. Good evening, I'm Todd McDermott.
And I'm Felicia Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us here at 6. Investigative reporter Terry Parker joining us now with a story you will only see on WPBF 25. Terry?
We've learned deputies in Arizona reported the case to the Department of Child Safety. A 14-year-old runaway saying his parents were spanking him with a leather belt and a jump rope. Similar allegations to the ones he made to Jupiter police. And we've gotten pictures of the actual box room in that Jupiter garage, thanks to the contractor who built it and who suspected something was wrong. These parents, whom we are not identifying, are facing charges in Palm Beach County for aggravated child abuse. Their runaway 14-year-old son in January told investigators his adoptive parents repeatedly locked him in an 8x8 box-like room in the garage for up to 18 hours at a time and physically abused him. The boy said the physical punishments also happened a lot when the family previously lived in Arizona and that he was confined to a similar box room there. We just obtained the Pima County Sheriff's Office reports documenting 2 investigations. Pima County deputies in November 2021 were responding to a runaway child report made by the parents. When they found the boy 2 days later, the report says he was shaking and very scared. The report says the boy told them he, out of all his siblings, was the only one. It goes on to say his mother recently had restrained him up against the wall and began yelling at him. When deputies found the boy, they say he kept changing his story about where he'd been and who with. Deputies writing, "At this time, we knew that he was lying." Deputies say the teen also had credit cards and other. He kept changing his story about where he'd been and who with. Deputies writing, "At this time, we knew that he was lying." Deputies say the teen also had credit cards and other items that did not belong to him. A second report 2 weeks later says the boy ran away again, his mother saying she had been keeping a close eye on him, that he'd gotten in trouble at school for misusing his laptop and refused to take medication for an unspecified condition. That incident ended when the parents found the boy at a friend's house, and they were currently dealing with parental discipline. I just emailed the parents' attorney, Nellie King. She says the Arizona Department of Child Safety concluded the allegations of child abuse by the boy were unfounded. She says that finding is substantiated by sheriff's investigators who determined the boy's statements to them were untruthful. The parents claim the boy has a history of problems. They remain free on bond, while DCF has taken temporary custody of their other 3 children.
You will see that Tim tried to curtail Ronan's behavior when nothing else worked, and there will be some videos of that. It's not always going to look pretty, just as it doesn't look pretty in real life when a parent gets mad at their kid. Particularly a child, and you must remember when you see the videos, particularly a child who for years and years and years is continuing to engage in these behaviors, who will not stop. In 2019, while living in Havasu, Arizona, Tracy and Tim had their last and youngest child, Pierce. And at that point, they are fearful. Ty, Nola, and Fiona are a little bit older. They're about 10, 11 years old. And Pierce is coming in as an infant. And at this point, Ronan had been hurting other kids at school. He had been engaging in dangerous behaviors. He's walking around at night. And they did not know if an infant could be safe with Ronan in the house. And that is when they made the decision, while he lived inside their home in Arizona, this is not in the garage, this is in a house, to put a lock on his door. And that was not for the purpose of keeping him locked inside at all times. It was not for the purpose of even punishment. It was for the purpose of monitoring him when they couldn't. Because unfortunately, they're in a situation where they cannot leave this child unattended. There has to be somebody constantly watching him, and they cannot do that as two working adults. You'll hear that Ronan or Ty participated in activities. He went to school. You'll see videos of him around the house, and he will tell you himself that the door was not always locked. But they did use it when he couldn't be supervised. Once Pierce was born, they needed a baby room. So they built a room in the Arizona house in the garage for Ty. It had a bed, it had a desk, it had Legos. You'll hear from witnesses who actually saw that room. And Ronan showed it to them. Ty took them in and said, hey, look at my room, and showed them all the toys that he had and the books that he had in the room in Arizona. So right before Christmas of 2021, that's when we get to sort of the time relevant in this case. The Ferriters moved back to Jupiter, where they lived many, many years ago when the kids were young. And they decided to build a similar room for Ronan. It had the bed, desk, books, and toys. You'll see videos of him in his room. He's reading. He's talking to his friends. He has Legos there. He is not allowed to have technology in his room alone because that's not something that they felt was safe, but he had other types of activities. He did have like a school Chromebook that was provided by the school. You'll see him FaceTiming with a friend of his. He had posters up on the wall that he, when he got angry, ripped down himself. That's why the walls will look bare. Both the room in Arizona and the one in Florida had one very big design flaw, and that is that it did not include a bathroom. And this means that Ronan, at night when he was in the room and couldn't be supervised, had to use a bucket for the bathroom if he needed to use the bathroom. During the day, he was permitted to move about the house freely, and he could utilize the bathroom in the house itself. And I'm going to be very honest with you. You're going to see him use the bathroom in that bucket a handful of times over this 4 to 5 week period. He's a kid, so he's not waking up and using the bathroom all the time like probably all of us are. And so he uses it a few times, and it's not going to look pretty. But what you have to remember throughout this case, right, is that this was not some big secret life like the state is presenting. These people went to doctors. They went to therapists. The schools were emailing them back and forth about Ronan's behavior. They had family members and friends see the room in Arizona. In Florida, they were only here for about 4 weeks right before Christmas, and then school started. So this is not some sort of secret life that they had for Ronan. Everybody knew that Ty had behavioral issues. Everybody knew that Tim and Tracy were trying to get a diagnosis so that he could get appropriate help, and it never happened.
him in statements he later makes in a book? And the answer to that is probably no, because you make a proffer to police for the purposes of this case, and that is protected. But if you go give the same information to somebody else in some other context, it can be used against you. So now let's move to statements in a book. Can statements in a book be used against him? Probably. It's not going to be hearsay. It's going to fall within multiple exceptions to the hearsay rule. It's an admission against interest. Which makes it reliable for the purposes of hearsay. That's right. That is the feeling about it. That's why we keep out hearsay, because it's not me reporting what you said is not necessarily reliable unless it's something you said against your own interest. Then it's more reliable.
Well, let's go to the third thing, though. When I was reading this and prepping for this morning, and knowing that you were going to be on and could answer all of my questions, right? I don't know about that. Okay. We'll try. All right. So let's assume the statement is, I gave a gun to my nephew in the backseat of the car, but my nephew was the one who actually shot Tupac. Okay. And everybody in that car is dead. The other three people are dead, all but Keefe D. But what was his intent in giving the gun? If he just says, I gave a gun, or does he have to say, I gave a gun because I wanted my nephew, I ordered him to shoot? And if no one's there to say he ordered him to shoot, how does the state prove intent?
Yeah. Well, the state still has to build a case. So I assume they're going to show motive by virtue of the prior dispute between this group and Tupac's group.
Would you explain what that was?
I don't know. See, you're getting more in the weeds than I am. Okay. My understanding of this and my recollection from almost 30 years ago is that they had some sort of altercation. Right. They weren't necessarily on friendly terms to begin with. There's some sort of altercation. So the theory is that Davis essentially ordered that Tupac would be killed. And they got in a car. The allegation in the indictment is that he procured the gun. And they were in the car and they drove up and he handed it to some guy in the back seat who then shot, one car to the other. So if the statement is just, I handed him the gun, that doesn't prove the rest of the case. Right. It doesn't prove the intent. It doesn't prove he knew the guy was going to use a gun to commit a murder. Maybe he's going to say or imply, not going to say because don't suspect he'll testify, but we'll see. That's down the road a while. Maybe he'll imply that they just had a gun for protection, as
That's what I was asking you about. Yeah. So also, I guess the prosecution says these were two separate gangs, factions. But how do you prove that that's a motive for an enhancement, even if it's true? And there's some question about whether it's true.
Well, remember, not only are they going to try to prove there's gang activity as part of the motive theory, but they have a gang activity enhancement alleged on the murder itself, which I think elevates the degree of the murder charge. So gang activity is very much going to be part of this prosecution, as far as I can tell. And that makes it a lot more to prove, right? Now they don't just have to prove that there's a guy in a car with a gun who hands the gun to another guy who kills somebody. Right. They have to prove this whole web of gang activity, which is and it's almost 30 years old. Right. It's not like gang activity from last week. It's 1996. The iPhone hadn't been invented. Right. How about we forget about that? And I also want to talk to you a little bit later on about Suge Knight. But in the meantime, I'd like you to listen with our viewers to a press conference, not the one this morning. Actually, there's a live presser right now. Let's go.
So that's what occurred today in court. Nothing will occur in the next couple of weeks until the next court appearance when his lawyer appears. Mr. Davis is being held on no bail. That no bail status will continue at least until his...
So, Judge, there were two items of evidence that we introduced, 4 and 7. I have to redact the back of them. Right. Once I do that, I will at some point ask to publish that to the jury, but I can't right now because of the redactions that's necessary.
Okay. And I guess I should clarify it for the record. You did not move in 7 through 14 during the examination. I assume you wanted to move them in to preserve the record on my ruling on the sidebar conference, correct? Am I incorrect?
So 4 and 7 I moved into evidence on the record. Right. The other ones were for identification purposes to refresh our recollection based on the court's ruling.
Right.
So we have marked them So they're part of the record, is my understanding.
Okay, all right, good enough.
The clerk has those.
Okay, all right, so the clerk should have, what we were dealing with was a 4 through 14 now.
Correct.
4 and 7 came in evidence, the rest were for ID purposes.
That's right.
Okay, all right, Ms. Coakley?
I will withdraw the state's motion for RF to testify in camera. After discussion with his attorney and RF this morning, we're going to have him testify in court, and in light of the technical difficulties.
Okay, so what that means is that for purposes of the media coverage, the media can still cover the trial. They cannot show the likeness of the minor witness during his testimony. I thought you were going to raise another issue because of the lateness of the morning. You had mentioned wanting to finish up the witness entirely. I don't, because we've gone to about 11:45 with the first witness. I don't see us finishing the next witness by 12:30. Am I right about that, or do you think you'd be able to finish? So here's the question: we can go to 12:30 with your direct, and then break for lunch with cross-examination, or I can break now for lunch and we start back at 1 o'clock. That way the direct and cross will occur continuously. Mr. Waheed, are you fine with that?
My only suggestion would be, because I know where we are on the runway, is that, and it's an hour either way, but I'm guessing there might be a need for another break then between direct and cross. So I was trying to avoid that.
Why?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that part. The court ruled on that.
What was that, Ms. Murad?
He didn't hear Ms. Coakley when she said he was going to testify live.
Yeah, so.
Will not be the need for a break.
All right. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring the jurors back out. We'll break for lunch, and we'll start back at, is Ms. Coakley, an hour and 15 minutes enough for the state?
For lunch,
yeah. How about for you, Ms. Murad, for the defense? I mean, I could even go to an hour and start back. My suspicions are that most of you would like the extra 15 minutes, right? That's what I thought. All right, so let's go ahead and bring them out. We're gonna break for lunch, and we'll start back up at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, so what y'all want to do? What y'all want to do? Want to be baller, shot caller?
All right.
You want to watch the Tupac thing? I'm thinking that's what we should do. They're about to have a trial. Let me see. They're having a hearing for Tupac. Audio sucks, though. I mean, it can't be as bad as mine, I guess, right?
All right, everyone may be seated. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, a couple things have happened while you were in the jury room. What we're going to do is the next witness will be testifying live in front of you in this courtroom, so it won't be in a video feed. We want to start that witness and finish the witness, and so rather than have a break with lunch, we're going to go ahead and break now for lunch. I'm going to give you an hour and 15 minutes. We'll start back at 1 o'clock sharp, so you'll go to lunch now and be back. 5 minutes is enough staging time, right? 5 minutes to 1, just meet at the elevators with Mark. He'll bring you back into the jury room, and we should be able to start very sharply at 1 o'clock with the next witness. Obviously, remember, during the break, don't discuss the case with each other, with anyone else, do any kind of research or anything like that, and do everything you can to avoid any inadvertent media coverage. Other than that, relax and have a good lunch. I'll see you back in about an hour.
Court appearance here in Las Vegas.
We have. Do you understand?
All right, everyone may be seated. Anything the court needs to address before we break for lunch? Ms. Murad or Ms. Waheed, Ms. Coakley? I'm suspecting we are a little bit behind schedule. Is that a fair suspicion on my part? Okay, so we're going to need to talk about a plan B then in terms of not finishing on Friday. I mean, I can start to see the potential writing on the wall. So start to think about what will be the plan B in terms of next week, if we have to go into next week. I know the hope is still to finish all the evidence on Friday, but if that happens, then we likely will be deliberating next week. And as I've said, next week, with Monday's a holiday, means we wouldn't start until Tuesday. So just plant that seed in your minds and think about what to do with that if by chance we don't get back on schedule, because I'm going to need to let these folks know at some point, maybe not today, but tomorrow, I'll need to let them know that we're a little behind if we remain behind schedule. Sometimes we catch back up, so there's still some hope for that. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, but I don't think we're going to catch back up. In light of the length of the videos that at least the state.
And you know what? I think you're probably absolutely right. That's why I'm raising the issue now. So we'll deal with it as we move forward. Okay. All right. Court will be in recess.
Here yet. Here, Alan.
Do you have Hollins on page 4? I need you to go back to parole and probation and do an interview with them in the next 48 hours. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, could you assist? Within 6 present or there is credit for time served.
See that.
State of Nevada versus Cesar Fernandez. Made the record.
So I'm trying to figure out what we're gonna do. My alarms are still going off. I feel like we should start another stream for 1 o'clock. I was gonna maybe stream on the backup channel this Tupac stuff, but I'm trying to see exactly what's going on. There was a mini press thing after, very short. This guy's supposed to appear in court, but I don't know where did he. I think they're waiting for him to appear. Let's see. This guy hasn't appeared yet. Oh look. This Angela. I don't know what to do. So what I'm doing, just to let you guys know, I'm gonna do a part 2 to the stream. I'm setting it up right now for 1 o'clock in an hour from now because the alarm's going off. I can't really talk anyway, so maybe we'll take a little break and come back at 1. Just making a updated thumbnail. That Tupac stuff, I was trying to see what's up with that because I thought maybe we could go chill in the backup channel until. But again, I have this audio thing that's kind of annoying right now. And I want to thank the people too. I'm sorry for all the noise. These people, like, they're never on top of this stuff. Like, it takes them forever. It's happened twice so far since I've lived here, and they just a whole place could have burnt down by now. Like, they do nothing. Okay, part 2. Just mute myself for a second. So I set up the redirect. I set up the stream for an hour from now because I have all this crap going on in the background. I am going to move the stream over. Edward Moskowitz, thank you so much for the memberships. Appreciate that. Thank you for the 8 months. Thank you for gifting the memberships, 5 memberships, and also thank you for the 8 months. Thank you, Mel, Professional Carrying your PayPal. Oh, I had Mo put it. We met the goal already, but I mean, if you want to, you still can. But we met our goal for the legal funds thing for now. In the future, there might be something else, but that's all I needed for now. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. LL Francis, thank you for the membership. Salinas, thank you for the 20 months. Amazing. The Bee Lady app read says we adopted our youngest child. They tell you if they're over 1 year old, it's hard to get them assimilated into the family. Oh, I didn't know that. Shavira, thank you for the membership. Appreciate that. Linda Fontaine, thank you for the membership. Thanks for doing this, Mel. Sunshines and Tan Lines, thank you. All right, I'm going to move us over to the next thing, guys. So I'll be back in an hour. I'm sorry for all this noise stuff. All right, hopefully it's fixed by then. Love you guys.